On our final episode of AnimeCons TV for 2012, we have con reports from Nekocon and Bakuretsu Con, and we look back on 2012 with our annual year in review. I'm Gail, and this is the holiday episode of AnimeCons TV.
The first weekend of November, I went down to Nekocon in Hampton Roads, Virginia, at the Hampton Roads Convention Center. And I was not expecting this. It just kind of came together. It's a small con, about 5,000 attendees, but I have to say, it has to be one of the friendliest conventions I've ever been to, from the staff to the attendees to dealers to people in the artist alley. Everyone wanted to talk and was very approachable. They had some really interesting programming going on. They managed to get a Hatsune Miku concert, which was fun to watch with the hologram and everything. They had a Dunka Director, which all the proceeds went to charity. And they just, it was a really laid-back, fun time. There are only a few things I'd say they need to work on to just kind of make their game a little bit better, which is figure out how to make their lines go a little bit. Maybe set rules for don't line up before this, have room clears between panels and other events, you know, just maybe 15-minute blocks. Also, I think they could just use their space a little bit better. There was a couple panel rooms that were in the hotel instead of the convention center, so they were a little hidden. They could expand Artist Alley and other stuff, just use more room, and I think that'll help make it more appealing to attendees in general. And since it's in the starting to get colder as November hits, but there's still a beautiful location in Virginia. It's not snowing yet. You can use it's a good place that if you want to go outside and wear a costume that's going to be possibly a little bit warmer, but still not, you know, suffocate from the heat. This is a good convention to do that at. I saw a lot of people wearing heavier stuff because I wanted to take pictures outside, and it's the perfect setting for that. But definitely, if you have a chance, go down to Nekocon. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with some of the people there.
I returned to Bakuretsu Con for my 9th visit. It was their 11th year, but I've missed the past 2 years because I've gone out to BlizzCon, which has been the same weekend. But this year there was no BlizzCon, so I was able to go back up to Bakuretsu Con. Now, it's located in Colchester, Vermont, which is just outside Burlington. It's around 4 hours from Boston and 2 hours from Montreal. And it's a pretty small convention. This year they had an attendance of 481 people. So, yeah, it's not crowded, but it is in a small hotel. It's at the Hampton Inn. So there's pretty much one hallway with the dealer's room and some panel rooms off of that, and then you can go around up kind of an MC Escher sort of way. You have to go up to the 2nd floor, then you go down to the 1st floor, and then there's video game rooms and another panel room down there. And then they've got up in the main lobby of the hotel, they've got their gaming, and so they had guests who were they had Terry Doty, a voice actress.
On my resume, at the very bottom, there's special skills, and it's, you know, like, I can swim, I'm a licensed driver, licensed Class C driver. Yes, we put stuff like that. I don't know why. I do yoga, I play the bass, and last one, first song command.
They had Matt Myers, musician from Leet Street Boys. There was Scott Melzer, fan video creator, and Mookie, an artist who does Dominic Deegan, and me. I was a guest. And so I got to run the Chibi project, and we did Anime Unscripted, me and the other guests, and that was a great time. Had lots of fun doing that. And I also did my token trivia game, and that was lots of fun too. And it works best with a smaller crowd, so Bakuretsu Con was perfect for that. For the Chibi project, I might have been responsible for making the entire con smell like bacon for about an hour, but that's a good thing. And that episode of the Chibi project will be posted in a few weeks, so you'll see what I'm talking about there. But Bakuretsu Con's got a dealer's room, artist alley, panels, workshops, video game room, card games, video rooms, pretty much what you'd find at your typical convention. And there's a masquerade on Saturday that they open up the wall between two panel rooms and have it all combined. And that's a lot of fun. They also have a charity auction, and this year they raised $2,330 for charity, which is pretty impressive considering their attendance. That works out to $4.84 per person, which if some of the larger cons raised that, it would be a huge amount of money. So this is pretty impressive by a small con. Now on Saturday at around noon, there was a fire alarm that went off. I was just about to head out of the room, but I thought, oh great, it's one of those attendees. There's always one guy that's going to be the idiot who pulls the fire alarm, but no. This time it wasn't the fault of any attendee. Apparently the theory is that the elevator motor hadn't had maintenance in a while, so because it was working so hard getting people up and down stairs, it burned out. And so there was smoke, and that set off the smoke alarm. So, but fortunately, it's not a big hotel, so you don't need that elevator, and there was another elevator that could service people that did have to use the elevator. But all in all, Bakuretsu Con is a very, very friendly convention, and there's a lot of familiar faces. Even though I haven't gone for 2 years, I recognize a lot of people, and they were all glad to see me. And if you're in the area, if you're in New York or Quebec or New England, definitely look into it. You might want to check it out. Next year, it's going to be the first weekend of November, and they've teamed up with AnimeCons, who's the second weekend of November. So they're going to try to work out something where if you attend one, you get a discount on the other. So watch for that.
The sun shines and ice caps melt, hurricanes and earthquakes felt. All of the planet is going nuts with heat. The Higgs boson was found meanwhile. Call me maybe Gangnam Style, and newspapers reporting on the things people tweet. There's no way this isn't the end of the world. There's no way this isn't the end of the world. People love the Tea Party. There's a battleship movie. Pretty sure we found the eye of a giant squid.
Hello all! And this is again the end of the season where we have everybody crammed on the screen. Everyone, hey! And we're here to talk about, different things that happen over the year, and we go around kind of like in a circle and everything like that. You know it. If you are a return viewer, if you're not, have some fun. Alright, so, well, basically we usually start us off with our favorite convention moment of the year. This could be anything from, bumping into someone as a guest, or stuff that we did. And so, who wants to start it off?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I was part of some pretty epic cosplay groups at Dragon Con. One of them was Sketch and Chief and I and my brother did the Hogwarts Founders, and George Perez, who's a pretty big time comic book artist, took our picture. And then when part of us had split off our Legends of Hidden Temple group, and Felicia Day saw us and kind of freaked out and took our picture. So that was pretty cool, and I totally stole Ross.
Oh, yeah, that was the day after I was drinking with her at the bar.
Shut up.
That's true.
Well, Rob, what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment? Actually, just, again, this goes back to what Elizabeth started. We had a Legend of the Hidden Temple group. And we all went out to the food court. And just a quick description, we had everybody. We have every team. And we also had medallions I made. And we had the three-piece monkey. No one has the three-piece monkey. So we're just sitting there in the food court, eating, whatever. Then we decide to get up to go off to, the hotels and, show our stuff off. And as we're walking, a table notices us and starts applauding. We're like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah. And then the next table continued their applause. And then as we're walking through the food court, everyone in the food court stood up and started applauding us. And I think that my favorite line of that was Elizabeth going, I don't have to make a costume, I just have to buy a shirt. But that was my favorite moment.
Mine was because I knew everybody else would say that one, and that was mine too. No, my other favorite moment was actually at Anime Boston. It was the 10th anniversary of the convention, and we did a special Chibi project.
That was my moment!
Yeah! And I dressed up as Chibi Moon, and I got to fight Gladys from Portal. And show up in the Chibi project, and that was a lot of fun. People liked it, and I got to be all badass.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment too. It was a lot. I had planned something special for the 10th anniversary. We get the Blendtec blender to do Will It Blend.
Yep.
And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
All right.
Well, I'm glad I had forgotten about that Legends of the Hidden Temple thing, because I would have said that. But failing that, my favorite moment was I met Rob Paulson at Dragon Con and had a nice conversation with him, and he did the Yakko voice a couple of times, and I just really enjoyed talking with him because he's a really great performer, and I really like his energy and everything. So I was really excited to actually get to talk to him.
And finally for me, I'm glad I didn't pick the temple group either, but it's also cosplay related. At KatsuCon I wore Groose from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and I was just, a couple people were really excited, and then a couple friends went to go do something, and so I'm like, oh, I'll just walk around. And this is my first time at KatsuCon in the new area. And so I was like, oh, I'll walk by the fountain, see what's there. And it's a Legend of Zelda group, and everyone in the group just stops and stares at me. And it's just like, oh my god! And that was one of the first times I've gotten like a big reaction from a costume, so that just made my con right there.
Well, the other thing is that, okay, how many cons did we actually individually go to this year, and were there any new ones? Let's start with Hannah.
I went to 6 conventions this year, and the new one I went to 2 new ones, one of which I was at staff, and the other one which I came to cover for the AnimeCons. The first one was BAMCon, which is a small convention up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and Camp Anime in Connecticut. I also attended.
I set a record and went to a personal record for 11 cons.
Oh,
this
This is why you run the website.
And 1, 2, 3, 5 of them were new. BAMCon, Polaris in Toronto, Anime Iowa, the Chips 35th Anniversary Reunion, and Rhode Island Comic Con. Those were my new ones.
I don't know how this happened, but I went to 13.
Whoa! Showed you up!
Most of them were in New England. I flew to 3 of them, but my new ones were KatsuCon, Boston Comic Con, which I only went one day, BAMCon.
KatsuCon before?
No, I've never been to KatsuCon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
BAMCon with Gail, and Super Mega Fest this past weekend with Doug. And a couple of them I only went one day, and a lot of them were local drives, so a lot of them were big trips, but I added up the other day, and I was supposed to go to Rhode Island Comic Con, but I got sick, and that would have been 14.
You didn't miss anything.
Alright, and we had a quick edit here, Doug.
Well, I forgot about Super Mega Fest, but
We just went yesterday.
Yeah. Clearly it was just a blur, but I went to 7, I did Arisha, KatsuCon, Anime Boston, Porticon Maine, Otakon, DragonCon, as we said, Super Mega Fest, and that was a new one, but the other big new one that I went to was Nekocon, which was not expecting to go that, but had an absolute blast.
Well, Sketch and I were slackers and went to 3. So.
We have our reasons this year.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. But,
yeah, okay. I had the same. Well, no, you had another different reason.
But yeah,
I was supposed to cut back.
Yeah,
How'd that work out?
Way back. All right. No, so but we didn't go to any new ones this year. But next year we're planning on going to Katsu, which will be a new one for us.
Yes.
All right. Well, since we've been to so many conventions, or rather, they've been to so many conventions.
I don't know what happened.
Was there actually a least favorite moment that comes to mind?
Yeah, and I talked about it on the podcast. That was the screaming staffer at Nekocon. That was the low point of the year.
And enter a recap of him screaming on camera.
My least favorite moment really had nothing to do with the con, but at Dragon Con, the last night we were there, we got stuck in an elevator that actually dropped below its floor and scared crap out of all of us. So we were just coming into the lobby and the door started to open, and then we had the free fall feeling, and it only dropped like a foot, but it was enough to scare the crap out of you. And as soon as the doors opened, we all pushed them open and everyone plowed out of there so fast. And I am not a hero, I've decided. I was trampling over everybody.
I was holding the door.
Well, one of the things that helped me to go to 13 conventions was 2 were the same weekend, which was Anime Boston and PAX East, and my least favorite moment was splitting time between the 2 conventions, because it was just a little much, and if I'm never doing that again if they're in the same town. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but I feel like I missed stuff at both conventions.
No double dipping. That's the moral here. Any other? No?
My least favorite moment actually it turned out to be a good thing that happened, but it was definitely my least favorite moment of the con season. Was a masquerade group I was in. We realized that we just were not ready, and we had to drop out at the last minute. But it was a good decision in the long run, but disappointing in the moment.
For me, I have to say my least favorite moment was I was really looking forward to interviewing Jason David Frank at Otakon this year. It was, one of my childhood idols. And then it kept getting word, he's postponing them now to this time, now to this time, now to this time. And finally he's not doing any interviews. And it was really frustrating because I had to keep adjusting my schedule on the possibility of doing this interview. And it was like, well, why didn't you just cancel in the first place, or, make the effort to have it happen? It was really kind of frustrating for me. And while the Otakon staff did all they could, it was really hard.
Okay, so all of us have donned a costume at some point, right?
Or 20.
In the same day. But in the whole year, what was your personal favorite costume that you had?
I'm going to go with Rainbow Bright, because I wanted to do that forever. It was on my birthday cake when I was 2, and I just love that stupid show when I was a little kid. And I finally get to do it, and not only did I get to do it, but one, it came out just like I pictured it, which never happens. And then everyone else got to do it with me, and we all looked so adorable.
Yeah, Tickle Pink was my favorite costume because we were so adorable, we were so colorful, and that was just a really fun group to be a part of. Everyone was smiling because the group did come out so well, both those of us participating in it and those of us, those who saw us in the hallway at Dragon Con. It was just such a positive experience.
It was also great. It was a large group. We had 10 or 12 people, and there was no drama, and it was easy. It was the best group we've probably ever done that way.
I did Caitlin from League of Legends. I wore it at PAX East, and one of the things I like cosplaying about PAX East that I did this year was cosplaying from a company that was there. So, I went over to Riot in my Caitlyn costume, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" And there were so many other League of Legends costumes, and if you haven't seen the character designs from League of Legends, they are gorgeous, and I want to do all of them. And I couldn't turn around without my picture being taken, and my picture ended up being on G4TV.com, and I'm really proud of how it came out overall too.
Patrick?
Yeah, mine would be the level 7 Worgen priest from World of Warcraft, and I had a lot of fun with that costume.
Douglas?
Well,
because you've done more this year.
Yeah, they dragged me kicking and screaming, and now I can't get enough of it. As if anybody's going to be surprised by this, the Scout Trooper from Return of the Jedi. This was such a big thing for me. I spent months working on it. Got so obsessed with the details, but at the same time, as a result, I've joined the 501st New England Garrison, and have so much fun whenever I wear that costume. So many people look at it and are just amazed, and just getting to know 501st people has been so beneficial. I mean, everyone's always excited, and a lot of neat people, and just a great group of encouragement. And they've already said, so what are you doing next? And on one hand I'm like, oh, I'm taking a break. And on the other hand I'm like, oh, now I have to decide.
When I get my tax return. Yeah. Well, my favorite was actually Godric Gryffindor. One of the reasons is because it was an original design. All of us in the Founding Fathers group, it was an original design. We just kind of made...
We're mothers.
Founding families.
Founders. And what I love about it more is just that though it wasn't from anything that was, you saw in a movie, everyone knew what it was and went, just crazy for it whenever they, saw it or realized it. The other thing too is like I've always wanted a chest plate, so I bought a chest plate. I'm all donned out in armor. But that was one of my favorite ones. It was fun really because you're not sitting there going, "Oh my god, did I get my details right?" It's like, "Ha, this is fun. Oh look, I'm put a rune over here." It was great. I love that costume. All right, so when you go to conventions, and one of the major things we do here is interview guests. Who is your favorite guest this year?
That's easy. The entire cast of Chips. I went to the Chips 35th anniversary reunion. It was 35 years after the first episode aired, and they had the entire cast, including like Michael Dorn and Robert Pine, and they signed autographs for free and answered questions. They were really personable with everybody.
My favorite was Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, among many others, and it was really great to be able to talk to him at Nekocon. I am just so inspired by everything he's done.
I'm going to say Jonathan Frakes, or Riker from Star Trek. I've met almost all the cast of The Next Generation, and he was probably, they've all been very nice, but he's probably the only one that seemed really into it. He was joking. He was so excited to see my poster, had almost all the signatures on it, and he was just super nice. I'm a big fan.
I really liked Kyle Aber at PortCon Maine, because he does an awesome anime radio panel, and if you're ever at a con and he's doing that, be sure to check it out, because it's incredible.
I'm going to have to go with J. Michael Tatum. I didn't talk to him directly a whole lot, but all the panels I caught the end of or whatever, he was such a great guest, very gregarious guy, and wonderful to just talk to and listen to his experiences.
Mine would be Brian Brushwood. Well, mainly because you see a bunch of guests and everything like that, and sometimes you have to remind them. But I think just because I'm not always with him like Patrick is, but whenever I do see him, he always like, "It's you!" And that always makes it good because you go to these things and you see it. And I think he was one of the great guests that should be at more cons. All right, so we have guests on. All right, so other things in conventions you have are events and panels. What was your favorite event or a panel this year that wasn't your own?
I liked the World Cosplay Summit finals, or whatever they were at KatsuCon. I think people really stepped up and did not just great presentations on stage, but just gorgeous costumes as well.
I'll go with Kyle Aber's radio play, or radio drama thing that he did at PortCon Maine. And I got to be a part of that, so that was a lot of fun.
Weren't you Batman?
No, I think I was Robin. Ryan was Batman with a Texan accent. I think. Something like that, but it's funny.
My favorite panel was the Big Damn Heroes Firefly panel with Jewel, Sean, and Adam from Firefly at DragonCon.
I'd have to say one of the best ones for me was the Remembering Jerry Nelson panel at DragonCon, which was put together last minute because he passed away like a week before the convention. And it was just Heather Henson and a couple other people who have worked with Jerry over the years, just sharing memories and talking about the guy. And it was a really neat insight to his personality, and just kind of gave you a warm, fuzzy feeling.
I have to say, watching Brian Brushwood and the NSFW crew do slideshow roulette.
Oh, yeah, PowerPoint roulette.
Yeah,
yes.
That was hilarious. I mean, I was like...
Thank you.
I thought that was really funny.
I need to actually go to more panels, which has been something I've stated before. I need to cut back on other things and go to more panels. I don't have one, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we got our panels. Now, we have this thing every year where, we see the conventions try, and sometimes they're like, you missed the mark, and we have the Better Luck Next Year award. Who wants to start that one off?
I've got one. My Better Luck Next Year award goes to Camp Anime. To keep this short, go to my review for more details.
I'm gonna have to go with Super Mega Fest, which Doug and I went to this past weekend, only because they need to move to a bigger location with more parking.
I'm gonna go with Anime Boston, actually. I think they've had a lot of turnover in staff recently, and a lot of people that are in there are new and need to get more experience.
I'd have to say, for me, it was Otakon Panels Group. I mean, they did a good job. I'm glad I got my panels accepted, but I noticed things like typos in the program guide and stuff like that. And for me, it's like, come on, you guys are Otakon. You need to step up your game. You're big enough that you can have people paying attention and double-checking all this info, making sure it's right.
My Better Luck Next Year is to myself. I gotta do more.
I'm going to give mine to AkiCon out of the West Coast. They, a few years ago, had their artist alley in a space that had mold, and it fixed it by not having it there. They moved it back this year. And so it was a big problem, and a lot of people have brought it up. And to deal with the feedback, they took their forms offline. They should really watch that segment we did.
Yes, they definitely should.
Alright, so even with all that, what was your favorite convention of 2012?
Taxis.
DragonCon.
DragonCon.
Anime Iowa.
DragonCon.
I'm going to say Otakon again.
Alright, so, you know, doing this podcast, we always have stuff that you might not see or that you have seen. But, you know, what was our personal favorite moment of working this podcast this year?
I'll go first, because I have a feeling this is going to be a popular one. Interviewing Rue, aka Movie Phone Guy, because he was not expecting it at all, and the fact that we made him so happy by doing that made us all so happy, and that was just hysterical.
And I know his name is Rue, alright?
Rev.
It looked like a V, I was on the whatever. But my favorite part was just when I was interviewing just con attendees, I'm sitting there like, just get people, you know, interested. I'll ask them questions, and everyone was like, they went to the convention just to stand in the halls. All the answers I got. They're like, oh, we just want to see the cosplay. Oh, I just want to walk around my cosplay. Did you go to any panels or events? No. This is going to be a very, very short and uninteresting segment of
kids these days.
Well, I was like, oh my god.
Mine was, I did a little bit more editing this year, and I reviewed Anime Next with Gail, and that was pretty fun, and I like being able to edit it and put all those awesome costumes and things like that. That was fun.
I actually liked Anime Boston. Elizabeth and I were interviewing attendees, which is fun already, and people had some very interesting things to say, but we were interviewing one guy, and this other fake news guy came up and took over the interview and started asking Red Sox questions.
Oh my god.
I was like, I don't know what to do, but it was pretty funny. He was hilarious, actually.
My favorite was the Anime Next review.
Oh.
That's what it says. I didn't change it.
That's because you know how to do it.
Yeah, and it was very well done.
Yeah.
Then the PortCon went after. It was like, oh, too much footage.
We're having too much fun to film.
Well, my favorite AnimeCons TV moment is this right here. My first time in studio. Yay!
Yay!
So, and many more.
And many more.
Long drives.
Now, if you're new to this podcast, you might not know this, but if you are familiar with this, we try to do very accurate predictions of the year. So last year we predicted certain things, and so we'll go specifically in order. I myself thought that PETA would protest across the streets from all the furry cons. I don't know if any of those happened, but there were some religious people who did do it. So I'm partially right. Now Shiva, she predicted clearance sales on pony ears will cause stampedes in the dealers' rooms.
Well, I think pony ears did go on sale, and I think there was high demand, but as of right now, there haven't been any severe injuries or fatalities reported, so I'd say that's 50-50.
Well, it's more of those ears, the cat ears that move. Those
Wait,
are so
that's a big
popular.
thing.
Yeah.
Wait till Black Friday.
The Neko,
Black Friday.
the Neko Mimi were everywhere.
Yeah.
Now Elizabeth was saying more ponies.
Got that right.
Yeah.
Not only that, but actual pony con, My Little Pony Cons, BernieCon in Secaucus, I think, and Equestria, LA, which is a
Oh, and there's
Wow.
other Cantular
there's
Gardens, and check fancons.com for those.
Plug. Douglas here. He had there would be an epic throwdown between My Little Pony, Doctor Who, and Homestuck fans.
No, but I did see a couple giving each other dirty looks. So I kept hoping something was going to start, but nothing came of it.
You had the sparklers right there. You just want to add gasoline, and you couldn't. All right, now Patrick was his goes. The big in-demand guest for 2012 is going to be the Chibi Project. How did that pan out?
Yes. I made more guest appearances this year than any other year.
All right.
I think it was 4 guest appearances.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
And Hannah wasn't here last week. So. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to our predictions for 2013. Well, I'll start this one off. I think that the new release of Samurai Pizza Cat's box set will cause a retro revival in the anime cons, which will then cripple the anime's industry for all its new series coming out.
They're re-releasing Pizza Cats?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you've already kind of got that.
Yeah.
My prediction is that with the re-release of Sailor Moon next year, there's going to be this huge schism with fans between like the pink hats, I'm totally into it forever, but I don't know what Sailor Moon says is, and the old, I'm a real fan, I totally watched the entire series and the manga before it was cool and retranslated, and then they're going to have like fights in the parking lot, and there'll be wig pulling and skirt grabbing, and guys will be taking pictures.
Fanboys!
Sailor Moon says, oh my god. Mine is, well, kind of boring compared to those, but you're going to see more, like, genre-specific, series-specific conventions like Doctor Who, My Little Pony. Then you're also going to see more conventions do, like, what PortCon Maine did, and go from just anime to everything that's geeky. Unless they have anime in the name, then that's kind of weird. But that's my prediction.
My prediction is that my favorite moment of 2013 will be from Nerdtacular.
Big demands of Nerdtacular.
Watch out, Scott.
I'm going to have to say I think you're going to see another spark of an old school anime that's getting a new release, and I think you're going to see more Dragon Ball Z come back, especially now that Dragon Ball Z Kai is still going on, and there's talk of a new movie even.
Well, and I predict that due to global climate change, Katsucon will experience Otakon-level temperatures, and Otakon will be snowed in.
Katsucon.
Katsucon snowed in one year where everyone actually had to stay there for
there.
7 days. Yeah.
Here's a photo of me as Renamon in the snow.
Yeah, no, I predict that next year it's going to be Otakon snowed in, and Katsucon will have the ice-cold water guy.
Nice. All right. So those are our predictions, but on a more, personal, serious note, what are you looking forward to the most in 2013?
Not splitting between PAX season and Boston.
Attending Katsucon!
Me too, actually. I've never been, I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going back to ZenkaiCon now that they've moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I love that town and can't wait to go back and see how Zenkai has grown.
I'm pretty excited about our party at Aresia. I really thought it was beyond that.
I'm excited for planning on how to beat WeddingCon with WeddingCon 2.
Yes! WeddingCon 2 is going to be the best WeddingCon.
Better be.
You guys are WeddingCon 3.
What?
The one we went to recently was WeddingCon 1.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, WeddingCon 3.
WeddingCon 2.
The best.
It's going to be the best.
3's gonna kick its ass.
WeddingCon 2, First Blood.
I was going with Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the on what happened on 2012. So please call us at 762-ADEQUATE, 762-233. 233-3333, 7828.
233-7828. No deltas.
I know.
It's right here.
Right here, there's a number. Yeah.
See you next year!
See you next year!
See the end.
No.
The end.
'Twas the night before con, and all through the hotel, some attendees were there, most staffers as well. The badges were clipped to the lanyards with care, in hopes that the pre-reg soon would be there. The guests were all nestled, snow snug in their beds, while visions of panel lines danced in their heads. and Shiva in her kerchief and Sketch in his cap had just settled down, thinking this poem was whack. When out in the lobby, there arose such a clatter, Liz put down her manga to see what was the matter. And into the lobby, Doug flew like the Flash, forgetting to remember he dressed like Rainbow Dash. We all gathered round to witness Doug's show. His cosplay was awesome, with sparkle and glow. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but Gale, all decked out in rainbow bright gear. With new iPad mini so tiny and quick, Pat D took a picture and uploaded it. Like Dasher Healy, Pat swiftly did go. Chibi Project was on. Man, I love that show. With giant steel hammers, Jekka smashes toys. It's a super cool panel for all girls and boys. Well, now I'm off topic, but I guess that's okay. Sometimes my mind wanders. Well, that's the movie phone way.
And it's the holiday voicemail. Roll it, Johnny.
Hey, AnimeCons TV, it's me, Movie Phone. Or Sketch calls me Rap. By the way, Sketch's name is now Doodle. Anyways, you guys are awesome. I hope everyone has a great holiday. Thank you so much for all the entertainment and information. Bye.
Well, I hope you have a great holiday too, and thank you. We enjoy trying to be entertaining and newsworthy. But again, leave us a voicemail at 762-ADEQUATE. That's 762-233-7828.
You didn't tell me where to start.
All right, or you can email us at podcast@AnimeCons.tv. Follow us on Twitter at AnimeConsTV and at AnimeCons.
And like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AnimeCons and facebook.com/AnimeCons podcast. You can find us on Google Plus at google.com/+AnimeCons. And we're also on Foursquare at foursquare.com/AnimeCons.
You can find these links of all these at the bottom of AnimeCons and FanCons homepage. Our next month's episode, nothing. This is our last monthly episode. We're going weekly. We'll skip a few weeks here and there, probably busy weeks like Anime Boston Dragon Cons, you know, when there's a lot of conventions going on the same weekend. And we will do 48 episodes a year.
We're also removing the first year of episodes from our iTunes RSS feed, but they will still be available on the website and on YouTube.
We'll also be removing the 2010 episodes once a month after that.
Basically any episodes not under the AnimeCons TV name.
Next month, we'll be revealing the largest conventions of 2012.
We'll also celebrate our 50th episode in mid-January.
50. And we'll wrap up January with a monthly viewer mail episode featuring the results of our first poll. The poll topic to be assigned, go to our forums and we'll show them how, put it there. And vote in the poll, which you can find there. And all should be good. And we'll have that bell. All right, see you next year.
Happy holidays. On our final episode of AnimeCons TV of 2012, we have con reports from Nekocon and Bakuretsu.
Family photos.